to Everybody's Webstyle, the man, the voice of fragrance, here with a wonderful guest, someone who I am very intrigued and excited to talk to. It is Miss Zariah Aura. Zariah, how are you doing today?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. Thank you for your time. I know it's a lot. I swear, it seems like it's always some sort of award, something going on. Because like
Yeah.
X Bigs was just this week, and then what Exotica was in April, and then you had all the other stuff beginning of the year with what X3, and then AVN. It seems like there's always some award show going on, trying to book guests. But I thank you for your time because I know it's very busy, or it can be very busy, especially when, I mean, looking at your bio, you're working.
Yes, I'm working.
Yes, definitely, definitely work. So I want to ask you about that.
Yeah.
Um, what? Because look, I always say normies, right? Most of us could never imagine having sex with someone on the camera in any way, shape, or form, let alone for the world to see. What led you into the adult industry?
Oh goodness, I don't know. I've just always been such a hypersexual person. It was so easy for me to just be a sexual being in front of people. So it really wasn't that hard. I used to perform in clubs, and so I was already kind of getting that interaction with the crowds of being a sexual being in front of them.
Mhm.
So it really wasn't that hard to get in behind the cameras. So once kind of COVID hit, I decided to, show my body online just like many people, and people liked it, and they reacted really well to it. So it was very easy to just make the jump.
COVID just changed a lot of people's
Yeah.
lives.
I think everybody was kind of just feeling like they could do anything, if
Right,
you're just at home, try it out, and if you don't like it, it is what it
right.
is. But I really
So,
liked it.
so did you start off like doing OnlyFans? You started off
Yeah,
Cammy? Okay,
yeah. It was 2020. I started doing OnlyFans, and
right.
this was actually pre-transition, so
Okay,
I wasn't even transitioning at the time, and
okay,
so I had started off as Xander Lee,
okay.
and I was just doing OnlyFans content. I didn't really show my face too much. I was mostly showing my body,
Right.
and then people liked it. People around in Denver when I was living in Denver, they were starting to kind of figure out that it was me, and then. I ended up going with a ex-boyfriend of mine to shoot some scenes. I think it was right when COVID had been happening, and they were testing for COVID, and as long as you had a
Mhm.
COVID test, you could go and shoot. And I went on set with him. They saw me and they liked me, and they were like, "You should try out." And so I think not even a month later, I went and shot some scenes, and it's been history now.
Interesting. So let me ask you this, and this
Yeah.
is I will give some background. Like I think personally, not very, but like personally speaking, I have I've known people who've transitioned
Hmm.
probably for the past 20 years. So I've gotten to have a lot of conversations. Some I met like they already transitioned. Some I literally like I work with them. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm transitioning, and
Hmm.
as a coworker and friend, I got to be there as part of the journey. And everybody's circumstances are different,
Yeah.
but I know a lot of one is not an easy decision for anybody. It's like, hey, yes, I'm going to transition my gender. But two, I know there's has to be a lot of like just willpower and self-confidence and being comfortable with yourself to make that decision and then go through with it. How how did you, I guess, creating adult content, being in an adult world through your transition, did that sort of give you sort of a, and I don't want to be disrespectful, like a wind beneath your wings to go forward? Like, did it give you like a sense of confidence maybe if you wouldn't have had, if you weren't, in a position where you are totally comfortable with your body and who you are because you're making adult content? Maybe it's probably a better way of asking the question.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, it definitely took me getting confidence and seeing my body in a different way for me to
Mhm.
be able to accept myself, And I had already started to dive deep into my brain, and kind of get to know myself. And as I got to know myself and got more comfortable with looking at my body and kind of expressing it to the world is when the transition became easier. So, like, after doing all of the inner work, it became now starting to get to know my body on the
Right.
outside, which made just transitioning even easier. And once I was, taking hormones and like feeling like the change is happening, because, it starts to change your brain structure. It starts to show you parts of yourself that you didn't even know were there because, there was that mask covering,
Right.
that you were trying to be what the world wanted you to be, and so once I was able to just move that mask aside and just be myself and see that people were like liking it, it changed my world, and I was able to fully go into my transition and show myself. And then I think, yeah, before 1 year, I was like way more confident than I had ever been in my life.
Okay. Awesome. Because I've
Yeah.
always um like you have to have, I would assume, a degree of confidence in yourself and comfortable with your body to be in a position where everybody's gonna see me. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
and normal people, like, we always, you look in the mirror like I can maybe lose this, I could tone up here, but nobody outside of select people, persons, are seeing me. I
Hmm.
can only imagine the sort of, again, confidence in yourself and your appearance that you have to have in order to literally display yourself for the world to see. So that's why I had to ask that question, because
Yeah.
it's not an easy decision. It's not an easy process to go through. Again, I don't know, but I've had a fortune of being able to speak and learn from other people over the past 20 years now, just of
Hmm.
really what has gone into their process for you know taking that leap, so to speak.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's such a blessing to be able to get to know people like that. So
Yeah.
I'm happy for you.
So you have worked for a so okay. So you were doing OnlyFans. You did a couple scenes. How did you, I guess, really get into the mainstream aspect of things?
So I ended up, I sent my application to Groovy.
Okay.
I don't know if you know who Groovy is, one of the
Yes.
first and longest running trans porn sites. And so I sent my application, and like, I think it was like 2 hours, I'm not kidding, like later, like they wanted me. And so I went and I shot some scenes with them. And then it was the Trans Erotica Awards that were coming up, I think like a
Okay.
week or two later.
Sure.
And so I ended up meeting Stephen Gruby, who runs the company, and he liked me a lot. And yeah, I got to meet everybody. I went as a guest. I networked. I got introduced by my friend Paradise, to a bunch of people, a bunch of studios, Jim Powers, and just a bunch of other directors. And yeah, I just got really lucky and was able to just be myself and show what I had. And I was already very confident in front of people. I wasn't scared of anybody, so going into a big event like that, I was not scared. I went right up to the people, talked to them, and yeah, mainstream just right away welcomed me. I think 3 months after that, I shot for Devil's Film,
Okay.
and then after that, Evil Angel, and then from even Deep Blush. I had shot for Deep Blush right at the beginning as well of shooting in studio. And so yeah, just everybody just wanted me right away, and I guess I delivered.
Awesome. Now with that, were you I guess, a big time, I mean, a consumer, but were you sort of a student of the adult industry before you got in?
Was I what?
A student of the adult industry, were there people you were fans of before you got into the industry?
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. Like I was looking at a lot of the trans performers. I was following a lot of the boys because at the time I was with a trans man. I still am. My husband is trans, and so
Right.
I was just following a lot of trans men. I was following their content. I liked their content, and they were giving me a lot of hype. I started finding a lot of the trans girls, and yeah, I just kind of saw what they were doing, and I was able to kind of find my own formula, so to speak. And so I was able to, I kind of created a marketing strategy for myself of just doing the same kind of posts all the time and seeing
Hmm.
what people liked. And so as my body started changing, I was able to show parts of myself that I didn't before. So like once I started growing boobs and like all that kind of stuff, like I don't know, I did it.
Right. Right. Now, you speak of marketing. One of the things that I always find fascinating, especially, I always say direct to consumer. So much is direct to consumer now, OnlyFans, lower fans. You're interfacing directly with your fans compared to, going through a Groovy or a Devil's Film where,
Yeah.
like, you're just a talent. Well, has it been hard for you to market yourself to not just to keep fans, but also attract new fans as well to your more personalized content?
No, it's actually been pretty easy for me. I did sales before I did porn
Okay.
as well, so like I was already selling, physical things, and like phones and like online services and things like that. So I already kind of knew how to talk to the consumer. I already was interacting with people on a day-to-day basis, and so it wasn't very hard to just switch that from selling phones to selling my body, I guess,
Sales is sales, I guess.
sales to sales all across. And so if I was able to sell them on the phones, I could sell them myself. And so I know myself more than anybody else. So it wasn't that hard.
Understood. Now, I wondered. I'm glad you brought up your husband because that was something that's going through
Yeah.
your media profile. I thought was fascinating, but also mostly, you did indicate that your husband is a trans man.
Yeah.
How is it having someone who has maybe similar experiences who really understands, not just your transition, but living as a trans person? What is it like having someone who intimately understands your experience as a partner?
Oh goodness, it's a blessing to have a partner who understands me and understands my trans experience, especially because it's like just a flip and reverse, like
Right.
he was able to go from being born female and being raised as this female in the world, and I was supposedly this male, trying to fit this box. And so we both kind of were able to, go from one to the other. So he understood things about myself that I didn't even understand about myself when I was transitioning to female because he had already lived that life. And so I couldn't teach him too much about being a boy. I wasn't a very good boy, but he lived the life of a girl. Like he was full on doing. He was a lesbian for a long time, and so for him, he was able to teach me a lot.
Hmm.
I wish that I could teach him a little bit more, but it just wasn't my experience. But it was a blessing. It's still a blessing to this day. He's still helping me all the time with how to do my hair and how to dress up. He's my stylist. He's my everything. He makes sure that I look good, that I feel good. And so had I not had him, I would not be as deep into my career either. He and I got together right at the beginning of me blowing up into the industry.
Okay.
So like had I not had him, Zariah would not be where she is. So
Right.
I'm very blessed.
That's amazing. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Is your husband a performer as well?
Yes, yeah. So he
Okay.
actually he's a production assistant and a personal assistant for other models and for studios. So he works mostly for like Adult Time.
Okay.
He's worked for Evil Angel, all of those companies as well. But yeah, he's a performer too. We've actually won an award together, and we've been
Okay.
nominated many times together too.
Okay. No, I had conversations like this with other performers in
Yeah.
general that are married, and one of the things I guess it doesn't really fascinate me because I totally get it, but how do you as a couple sort of navigate having sex with other other people on camera?
How do we navigate having sex with other people? I'm a dirty girl, he's a dirty boy, and we both understand it.
Okay.
And why would I want to stop him from doing something that I want to do and vice versa?
Okay.
So at the end of the day, the beginning of doing all of this, yeah, it was a little hard to kind of like, understand jealousy and like like compersion when compersion comes in because
Right.
compersion has been like the biggest change, and understanding of being with a partner. is
Hmm.
wanting to see them in their happiest, you know, and
Right.
wanting them to experience life the way they want to experience it. But I think there's so much power in it. Being able to see your partner in like their full ecstasy and their full, you know, moment makes you want to be able to show them that. And they want to let you experience it too. And so it really now is so easy. It's so easy to be able to push my husband to go and do what he wants to do, even in the moment. If I can tell that he's into somebody, if I can tell that he wants to go do something, hey, go do it. I know you want to do it. Or hey, I'm feeling this way. I really want to go and have sex with this person. And so we do that because we're poly, and so
Hmm.
we date other people, we talk to other people, and we have sex with other people. So it's not just work anymore. But especially with work, I think the easiest and coolest part about it is like we just like making really hot art, you know? And
Hmm.
that's what this is. It's just bodies creating beautiful art together. And so we have a lot of ideas and we have a lot of things that we want to do in the industry. And we've been getting our lists set up and we've been making really cool things with friends. And I think when you find like-minded people who are just like you and get nasty and dirty and have no shame in their game, it
Right.
makes it so much funner. And so we're very fortunate to have a really cool group of friends that we make a lot of really hot art with.
I want to, you know what? I want to ask about that because this is with all of
Yeah.
my interviews, and I think more so. I think the only other trans actors I've interviewed so far has been Leilani Lee, and just following people in necessarily on Twitter because Twitter is a different animal, but
Yeah.
but really like the Instagrams and when where performers are able to show a bit more of their personalities.
Yeah.
Um, what I see, and this is my perception, and even going to Exotic and on other conventions, um, the trans community, while not humongous, seems to be very tight knit. And I'm pretty sure with people, you have people don't like each other and this and that. But I see a lot of friendships
Yeah.
there. I see a lot of people connected to. So I thought, and this is before I even, gracious enough to book you, I was like, wait a minute. How do you reconcile the fact that this person is your friend, but then, I am exploring orifices the next day with them, and then everything, not saying everything wouldn't be cool, but me personally,
Hmm.
I couldn't, and again, I'm not into, and she's like, most people, like, yeah, I couldn't say, my friend and I, like, we're cool, blah, blah, we talk about this, and this, and then, yeah, we casually, engage in intercourse. That would gum up the works, so to speak. Um, so how is it navigating like I'm exploring my friends in very intimate ways, but then we are still friends? Like, has that
So
been difficult?
it hasn't been difficult for me on my end. I
Okay,
feel like I've just always had that like openness with people that I can
okay,
from the jump tell somebody, even if I'm friends with them or have been friends with them for a long time, I can let them know when I'm feeling some type of way. 'Cause there's
right,
been feelings that I've garnered and had for my friends over the years that I was able to express when I
hmm,
finally felt like it was the right time. Hey, like I'm starting to like you, or hey, I'm starting to this. And not that I want to date you or anything, but like I want to be able to experience you.
right,
And I just always have the confidence to kind of say that. And so I just am very lucky to have people who are, like I said, like-minded, who are the same way. And so I think most of my friendships that I have, I've been able to be upfront and into them and tell them that, and they're into me and tell me that, and it just makes it so much easier to just be able to tell each other straight up.
right,
And be able to have conversations. So, like, when you start to feel something and you're starting to kind of feel awkward about things, or you don't want to be in that kind of relationship with them, you can tell them. I know a lot of my friends who, over the years, we've seen them on camera together, you see them in person together, but then behind the scenes, they're starting to tell each other, actually, you know what, I can't interact with you like that anymore. But that doesn't
right,
mean we can't be friends. That doesn't mean that
right,
we can't still shoot together when it's, you know, for work.
Right.
And so it's just being able to communicate that with each other.
Okay.
But it can get messy a little bit. I feel like it's mostly when you're not communicating, when you're not, you know, telling each other how you're actually feeling in that moment.
Right.
But yeah, I just know too many dirty, pervy people who have no problem with fucking their friends, and I love fucking my friends.
I appreciate that and thank you. And I also wanted to say one of the things when you were talking about your husband and
Yeah.
the relationship there, I appreciate when people are honest and you say, "Hey, yeah, I get jealous," or "Yeah, this happened," or
Mhm.
because I think that when you're on the outside looking in, people have assumptions,
Yeah.
and people may think that I couldn't do that, or how do you not get jealous, or I'd say people just think, yeah, everybody's horse. It's like they don't care. It's like it's no, they're people too. And I appreciate when I hear conversations like that, that hey, yes, there was a bit of jealousy. We had to deal
Yeah.
with that. We had to communicate. And one thing I've learned too, especially for you, is communication is really key. Like really communicating, not just service of like really expressing to your partner, this is how I'm feeling, this is what it's doing to me. And if you got a good partner, they're going to listen, they're going to respond, they're going to be receptive, and they're going to really take heed as to what you're feeling and acknowledge it and
Mhm.
work with you to create a stronger relationship from that.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's very important, and I'm just like I said, I'm blessed to have a partner who has been able to communicate with me from the very beginning. I feel like I was good at communicating, or I thought I was good at communicating when I got
Mhm.
with him, but then he showed me that there was this level of communication that I wasn't doing yet, and just was able to teach me in a way that wasn't like making me feel like ashamed or
Right.
embarrassed or, you know, judged.
Yeah.
And now that we've gotten to this point where we don't feel any judgment, or even if we do start to feel a little judgment, we just have the communication that lets us just be upfront about every single thing. And I can straight up say it too, like if like in front of anybody too. Like and there's obviously you pick and choose the moments that you need to do that, you know, but
Right.
like there's some times where you need to say it in front of every single person who's right there, hey, I'm feeling this way. And everyone hears it and everyone's okay with it. And
Right.
I think that just is such a beautiful moment, you know? And I've had that happen many times during play parties and during work stuff. And as long as you can just say what you're feeling, no one's gonna fault you for it.
Right.
You know?
Understood. I want to switch gears
Yeah.
a
Good.
bit just to get more into you. So I understand you're into Lego.
Yeah, my Legos over there. I have all my crap in the way, or I'd grab them for you. But yeah, I like Legos. Actually, I just bought this cute little. I try to buy anything that it's not just Legos, like anything that kind of resembles like Legos. So like anything that you can build. So I'm gonna build this little butterfly.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
it just keeps me. It just keeps me out of my head. I can
Understood.
get stuck in there sometimes, and so Legos very much are like meditative for me. I get to set up all of my little blocks all over and kind of create a little world, and so I like taking the bags apart and putting every single little piece that's the same in one little area, and I get to see everything that I'm working with, and I take my time going through each step, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun. I'm trying to create these little aquariums that have their own little worlds inside of them, and so
Okay.
once we get into a bigger home, because right now we're just in our little one bedroom, but once we get a house, we're gonna see a bunch of my little worlds come to life.
Okay. So do you tend to, I guess, with the size constraints and everything, so you tend to stick to smaller sets to put together at the moment?
Right now, yeah, I've got a few ships. Like I've got a Ahsoka ship, Ahsoka
Okay.
Tano from Star Wars, and then I've got like a few Mandalorian things right now. I think I started again doing Legos. I think it was not December of last year, the year before. So it's only been a little bit over a year that I started to do it again. I used to do it when I was a kid, but I'm getting back into it, and so yeah, I'm excited to get my little collection up more.
Okay, so you talked about Ahsoka, you talked about Mandalorian. So what are you watching right now? You watching Andor?
Actually, that's so funny that you said that. I am on Andor right now.
Okay.
Nikki has never watched Star Wars until we got together, and so
What?
I know. So we started going through chronological order,
Okay.
and I started to show him, from the shows to the movies and stuff like that. So we actually got stuck on Andor. I was having some trouble. I think it was like episode two, or three, and I just couldn't get past it for some reason. There was, I
Hmm.
think, that slowdown that was happening when they were like starting to get off the planet and like show us when he was a kid,
Right.
and it just slowed down a little too much for me. And so right now I still have to get back to finishing that.
Okay. I was curious because I mean, I hear Star Wars. I gotta ask. That's the most popular. It's weird because I haven't really gotten into any TV shows, which is really odd. Um,
Hmm.
I I never. I think I'm like halfway through season one of The Mandalorian and Obi-Wan, and I really hadn't. I don't know. My time is just crazy, so rarely get a chance to really sit down and watch things like that. Just to binge. I think the last thing I really binged was probably Star Trek: Strange New Worlds last season.
Uh-huh.
And that was last year. I haven't even finished Daredevil yet. I think I finished like through episode 6, and I have
Uh-huh.
to go back and finish. I don't know, but yeah, I love Star Wars though.
Yeah.
Definitely. I was literally in a thrift store today, and they had the DVDs, like the DVD sets that came out back in what late '90s, early 2000s.
Hmm.
Like somebody had all of them. I'm like, I don't need to buy these, but I want to buy
But
these.
I
Like
want to.
yeah, like episodes, 1 through 6. I'm like, because I used to
Hmm.
have them, but like doing moves and everything, I lost like a lot of my DVD collection. Like they're only $2.99 a piece, but no, I don't. I don't. I'm like, no, I don't need them. I'm still
Yeah.
paying the mouse every month, so I'll just keep that.
Yeah, no, when I first ever watched Star Wars, I actually watched it in Spanish, in
Oh,
Mexico. So most of the stuff that I watched when I first ever watched them, like any of the shows or movies that I watched them in Mexico when I was a family, because we used to go and visit my family in Mexico all the
mhm,
time, in Juarez, and
mhm.
in Chihuahua and stuff like that. And so it's funny when I think back to when I first watched them, I watched them all in Spanish, and then rewatching them as I got older, and watching them in English and everything. It's just such a different experience. But
Yes.
I love thinking back to the times that I watched it in Spanish.
Yeah, I was
Sounds
gonna
so
ask
different.
you, like just watching it in general, do you feel like you just transported to being a kid again in some
Yeah,
respect?
no, it makes me so happy. I think that's what I always am trying to do with like everything I do. That's why like I still want to do the Legos and I still want to watch the old shows, and
Right.
it just brings me back to a good place because I feel like I didn't have that full child experience. I didn't have that, like I wasn't fully me. I didn't get to fully be
Right.
myself, and so I was trying to play this role, of this little boy, and I never got to be this little girl, and getting to be this little girl with all these little boy things, it just feels so good.
You know, that's actually fascinating. You are, I guess the analogy, the caterpillar and the butterfly,
Yeah.
you are experiencing life through a totally different lens than the one you used to.
Yep.
Outside of Star Wars, are there things that you experience, growing up that you've experienced now as Zarya that's maybe you find a different wonder about?
Oh my gosh, I feel like everything. I feel like my eyes are so wide open,
Hmm.
and it's crazy because whatever it was that was blocking it is like now
Hmm.
like gone, and I feel like everything just feels like I'm seeing it for the first time. Um, And yeah, I don't know. There's just this childlike wonder that has stuck with me forever, and I feel like it's never gonna go away. And I'm happy about it. Like it makes me feel so young, and I feel like I'm gonna be alive forever because this kid is never gonna die.
I understand it in many respects. The movie theater in my home,
Yep.
they show like older movies at times. So I will go and watch. maybe movies I've watched 100 times, but have never seen on a big screen
Mm-hmm.
because now like I watched a couple months ago, I went to see Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I realized
Oh, love that.
I never actually watched Raiders before. Like I read the storybooks as a kid, I knew the story. I watched all well, I watched the good Indiana Jones movies
Yeah.
outside of Raiders. But I realized I never seen Raiders before, even though I knew the story, and it was amazing watching it as a 40 something year old man and knowing like of this character I loved as a kid. And it's funny because literally like the game came out, so I started playing the game I think either right before or right after. I forget the order of it when I saw it. So it was like several months ago.
Yeah.
But what I see now, obviously, I haven't changed genders, but I'm a bit older and my
Yeah.
viewpoint is different. And being able to see like so many things I grew up with through the eyes that I have now, it is almost like I'm rediscovering a lot of things because for me, it's like I have that knowledge of how things work. So there's almost even more of a wow aspect to it. Like, wow, like literally, I just saw Mission Impossible this morning, the new
Uh,
one. And I was talking to my dad last night and I said to him, you realize I've been watching this movie series since I graduated high school, literally, because it came out 96. The first one was the summer after I graduated high school. He's like,
mhm.
what? I'm like, yeah. And now I'm watching it as a 46-year-old man. And I'm like, I'm looking at all the tricks. I'm looking at how things happen. Even we just did a review earlier today, and I said, this is one of those movies where you're like, how did they do that? And you don't get that too often because mostly
Yeah.
everything is CGI.
Yep.
But that's something that the 19-year-old me, when I saw the original one, 18-year-old me, didn't ask those questions.
Yeah.
And now I would literally go back and watch the original, like, oh, that is so cool how they did that. Even having an understanding of special effects, like it's so amazing seeing it through a different lens now. So that's what, like I
Hmm.
have to ask.
No, so Nikki and I, we watch movies the same way. Mom hates it, but like the way that we watch it, we like sit there and we analyze every single thing that's happening, and we stop and we pause and we, hey, did you see that? And oh my God, the way that he just did that freaking acting was just incredible. And then, did you see that special effect? I can't believe they did that. Could you believe that this was out back in this day? Like the way that we watch the movies now, I feel like I am watching it for the first time each time, and I can
Yes.
rewatch a movie over and over because it's like there's something always missing that I didn't see. And I
Yes.
feel like the older that I get, the more that I can process certain things. So each time the movie is just better because now the way that I perceive the world is just
Hmm.
elevating each time. And so yeah, I know what you mean. I love rewatching things because of that.
Yeah, it's so like I saw Return of the Living Dead. I saw it actually on my birthday
Hmm.
last year because they were showing it in the big screen. I'd seen it so many times, and that was like literally the one movie as a kid that scared the bejesus out of me. I literally
Yeah.
had nightmares for 2 weeks. When I was like, I think I saw it. I was like 9.
Yeah.
Scared me for 2 weeks. Watched all types of other zombie movies in between because I love horror movies. Nothing scared me. I'm 18 years old. I'm in college. I'm in a video store, and I see it, and I get to shiver up my spine like I was a 9-year-old kid again. I ended up watching it later, and I just said to myself, "Why was I scared of this?"
Yep, yep.
But watching on the big screen last year, there are so many things that I never paid attention to
Hmm.
from seeing it on television and whatnot. And it's just like it was such a wonderful experience, like revisiting that movie, watching it, and really studying it and understanding it in that context. So yeah, it's just it's and also like the fact that they did these sort of things back then.
Yeah.
And were able to do them, and again, no disrespect to movies now, but
Yeah.
some of the CGI, you're like, really? That's what y'all did?
Oh my gosh, I think that did you see Aliens, the when they did the newer one, the
I
rocket
haven't
launcher?
watched it yet. I haven't
Okay,
watched it
well,
yet. Yeah.
I'm not gonna spoil anything,
Okay.
but the way that the practicals were from before to
Hmm.
now, I was like, take me back to the old fucking
Right.
movies because they were just so good. The way the
Yes.
practicals were done and just like the things that they were doing back in the day, it just made such good movies. And
Yes.
so it does make me a little sad because it feels like a lot of these movies are being just like, created so
Yes.
fast that they don't care. They're just thrown together, and there's just like a level of I don't know, a level of art that's missing from them now.
I'm
And it's
glad
really
you said that.
yeah.
So one of my favorite horror movies is The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Absolutely love that, and it holds up so well for a
Mhm.
43-year-old movie.
Yeah.
Well, they did a prequel back in 2011, and I still don't know why they used CGI. But that was the most horrible travesty of a movie I've ever seen in my life, with how awful the special effects was. And then,
Yep.
the original movie at that point was almost 30 years old,
Mhm.
and it still looked insanely better
Yep.
than the movie that came out in 2011 or whenever it did. And I was
Yep.
like, but I see it all the time. I so agree with you. There's so many things when you look at how they did things back then, and you look at some of the movies now, and it's like, what? That was one, like, I saw Sinners. I've seen Sinners twice, and one of the things I really
Oh
noticed about
yeah.
that is like the practical effects that they used in that movie, especially with a lot of the blood and everything. It took me back to an old, like, 70s horror movie with
Yep.
how they did some of those things, and I totally
Yeah,
loved it.
Sinners was really good. Yeah,
Yes.
we went with our best friend Jeff. He's a big film buff. He loves movies, and so we have the AMC A-list thing, and we go
Okay.
all the time. So we're always
Yes.
watching movies multiple times a week and stuff. And so Sinners was really good. He also felt the same way. He loved it a lot. And yeah, he's one of the ones that we sit there all together and we're just like, okay, this one was good. Oh damn, that movie wasn't the best. And let's go back to these ones. So we'll sometimes sit there and watch like old movies together just to get that that art again.
Yeah, that's what I went to see. Seven Samurai. They had it
Uh-huh.
across the street, and it's funny. I was talking to my friend last night. I say, how many black guys you know are going to go see Seven Samurai? And he's like, yeah, you got a point. He's like, exactly. But it was like, look, it inspires Star Wars. I've heard of it. I've heard it's great. I've never seen it. They have it across the street. I'm going. I'm going, and I loved every minute of it. Like,
Oh, I'm glad.
literally, like, it was such like, just again, you're looking at the artistry, you're looking at how things
Yeah.
were done, the
Mhm.
cinematography, and this is what, like, from a movie from the 50s. Like,
Yeah.
it's beautiful. So, like, one of my favorite movies ever is Casablanca, and I've watched that
Mhm.
for, like, I take two movies. Like, if I'm on a plane somewhere, there are two movies I take digitally with me every time. The Thing and Casablanca. I know I can watch those, two diametrically opposite movies, but
The
they're
two
comfort
genders.
movies
The
for
two
me.
genders.
Yes, but it's such a beautiful movie, and I saw it on the big screen last year for the
Yeah.
first time after watching it and this is a movie I didn't see until college. So I didn't see Casablanca until college. I don't think I would have appreciated that movie if I seen it as a kid. But it's such a beautiful movie, and such a the more I watch it, the more, and especially growing up too, like, you really understand why it's so timeless, because it's
Yep.
such a beautiful depiction and explanation of love and loving someone truly and genuinely.
Yep. Exactly.
Yes. So I have to ask you a question on this. Is
Yes.
I'm very big into fragrances. Are there any fragrances that you enjoy?
Like perfumes and such.
Yes.
So right now I got this Dior perfume. So Dior parfum.
A lot of Dior's.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what it is because I just got it because
Okay.
I went to a wedding recently. And
Okay.
so I got a new Dior and I got a oh God, I can't remember. It was a one of the new Chanel's.
Okay.
I just can't remember the names of them. But they're beautiful, very very floral.
Okay.
So I like floral stuff. Those are my two new scents that I'm using right now. I just can't remember the names because I got them so quickly. I was trying to get into. I was in Asheville, North Carolina,
Okay.
for a wedding, and so I went in there and I was like, "Give me some new scents." And she gave me a Dior and a Chanel. I just can't remember what they are, so I'll have to update you later on what they were exactly.
Okay. Now I'm gonna ask you this question: is there anything that Nikki wears that you just absolutely love on him?
Oh my gosh, yes. There's this one. Oh my God. Give me one second. Let me take a peek because I think
Sure.
it's right here on the corner. It's such a pretty cologne. Mine are still put away because we literally just got back from traveling. But
Okay.
he's got this Dior, the Sauvage.
Oh,
It's really
Sauvage.
good.
Okay.
Yes, that one smells really good. There's another one that he does that I can't find right now. I think it's still probably in his bag because we
Hmm.
literally just got back from traveling.
Okay.
He's also got this Kenneth Cole Black that's really
Okay.
good
I can
too.
call that. Yeah, I like that
But
one
he's
too.
got a ton. He's literally this boy has more sense than I do.
Well, it's the same way in my house, so yeah, I get
Uh-huh.
it.
But no, that boy, he smells so good. He's always got his colognes. But to be honest, I like it when he doesn't have anything on because I don't let him wear deodorant. So
Okay,
I'm all about the pheromones and his smells, and so and everyone
understood.
agrees. So whenever he doesn't have his cologne, he's got his own smell.
Understood. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You won Best Performer last year at the T Awards.
Yes, I won hardcore performer of the year. So I got trans performer of the year last year
Okay.
for
So, what was that experience like to receive not just an award, but an award from your community, so to
oh,
speak?
it was absolutely incredible. I actually was going through a really tough time when I won. I was going through a lot of imposter syndrome,
Mm,
and I just wasn't feeling like I deserved it or like that I was being seen by my community. I don't know. There was just a lot of like mental things going on that I just could not explain. Um, and it just getting the award really just solidified the fact that I am seen by my community, that I'm here, that I am actually putting in the work, you know. I thought that I wasn't doing enough. And getting that award really showed me that I was here. And it felt amazing because I had been hearing from so many of my peers and my friends that that I deserved this and that I was really putting in the work, even though I didn't feel like it at the time. Like I
right.
was being told so much, and I was like, well, then like prove it, And so getting the award was amazing. I didn't think that I was gonna get it that year.
Hmm.
I was there supporting all of my community, and we all thought it was going to be Emma. Our girl Emma
Right.
had won every single trans performer of the year for like 2 years in a row, and then I knocked her out of her winning streak. She needed one more to get all of them for the 2 years, and so we all were like, it's going to be Emma, and then I get it, and I was like, wait, what? And so it was really crazy. She was super happy for me. Love her. I gave her biggest shout out on stage because she's been such a help and such a beautiful light in our community. And so having her support really made me feel good because at first I was like, but wait, no, it's supposed to be Emma. But no, I was very proud. I still am very proud. I've got all my awards right here in front of me, and yeah, it just feels good to be seen in your own community because like
Right.
we are already such a small industry, in a whole of like of all of the adult industry, and then like us, we're even smaller inside of that small industry of adult, and so having your whole community be there to scream for you and be proud of you just felt amazing. And ever since then, everybody has been just incredible. I've now won, I think, 4 awards with the T's. Um, and yeah, it was really beautiful because I didn't even know about the T's before I started in the industry. I had just started in the industry. I went as a guest, and I didn't even know that existed.
Right.
And so to have the trans awards, was like so cool to experience for the first time. And then the very next year, I got Best New Face, and then the year after that, Best Hardcore Performer. And then again this year, I got something. So it's been really nice to just continue to elevate in the industry and to be acknowledged.
Okay. Awesome. Well, speaking of being seen, where can everybody see more of you?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Please come and see me, please. So you can actually see all of my my website, my Instagram, Facebook, everything, all at ZariahAura.com. Also at my website, ZariahAura.com. And yeah, you could just Google Zariah Aura and everything will pop up for you. So.
Okay. Well, Zariah, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. You guys, if you didn't catch that, you'll see a link in below if you're on YouTube, because YouTube really doesn't like anything that points to anything naughty. So you'll have a safe for work link down below, and you can find everything else from there. But if you're interested in learning more about her and maybe seeing more, check her out on all those links as she said. You've been here with Webster Style, the Man of Voice of Fragrance. I thank you for your time. I thank you for your listening ear. Remember, be safe out there and be blessed. Zariah, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.